Welcome once again to The Polity. This program comes to you every day of the working week from Kaftan Television, and usually comes from the Abuja studio. And my name is Dayo Omogun, bringing the Tuesday edition to you this week. I'm excited, and like I say all the time, I expect that my excitement will be infectious and you will be infected with that excitement. So I expect that it doesn't matter what your day has been like. Because this program has started, everything has changed for the positive for you. Can I hear an amen?
Amen.
Right.
Come on, Pastor.
Okay, so now, welcome to The Polity.
Yeah.
But here, it's not just amen and hallelujah. We talk about real issues that affect Nigerians, home and abroad. And today, we want to go right back and take a look at an institution that has become a shadow of itself. I want to go look at a party that once boasted that it will rule for 60 years. But I mean, maybe they wanted to say 16 years because that's what the period they ruled for. But they mistakenly said 60. There's a difference between 60 and 16. And so after the 16th year, not only did they fall from power, they have fallen from grace, from all the reality that we can see. And that's very unfortunate. Not because of for their own sakes, but for the sake of the country. Because if a country that once ruled for 16 consecutive years will fall and scatter, it's a bad omen for the future of our politics. Well, so many things are out there, so many postulations, and some people are saying, well, the reason the party has gone down under like this is because he who laughs last laughs best. And by that I mean that same party tried to bury AD sometime early in this Fourth Republic. That same party tried to, exterminate, if you like, extinguish, if you want, stamp out, if you like, the party called Alliance for Democracy, AD. Is that correct?
Correct.
And so now it looks like the only survivor of that miscarriage, of that typhoon, if you like, of that storm is in power now, and it's his turn, and is making sure that that party does not live to see another election cycle. I don't know where that postulation comes from, but it makes some sense, don't you think? So those are the things we're going to be looking at. We're actually taking a look at the rise and fall of the PDP, and it's just part one. I intend that we'll be having this maybe alongside some other small topics in the next 2-3 weeks, and so if possible I'll bring different persons to weigh in. I wish I can bring in what's his name now? He's been here twice at my behest. Segun Showunmi. Thank you so very much. Yeah, I hope, and if he's watching or anybody who's close to him is watching right now, please alert him that I might be reaching out to him very shortly to come talk about the party that once held sway and where he also played a big part. And now that substance has become shadow, we need to talk about what led us from grace to grass. Now I have one of my guests this edition. His name is Ambassador Moses. The moment I mention ambassador, you people are left with two possibilities, but it's one of them. There are two ambassadors usually that I bring here, but this one is the one whose initials stand for money. Money, Kudi, Owo.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, Moses Kolawole Obisheson, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Good to have you once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so Now, that's what we're talking about, Ambassador. Incidentally, that used to be your party for many years. For many years.
Yeah.
Well, we can laugh and all that, but it's a very painful thing. I've not been a politician all this while, but I think that anything that makes any institution, organization, group go down, it means that there's a problem somewhere. If the organization, institution, or body was meant to be a part of the developmental system of the country and it goes down under, then there's a problem. There's a problem. And so I feel for PDP. I feel really bad because, again, before this last part, I kept shouting on this program several times. I said it was time to apply discipline. As a person, I believe in discipline. At home, it may not turn out well because you could have counter forces. You could say an A and somebody says a B. That's unfortunate that it should happen. But if people come from well-honed families, both parties and everybody, they will most likely always connect. They will always have a connecting point, a nexus that makes things work together. But once you have a disconnect where one leader says yes and another leader says no, that's a panacea for disorder. That's a panacea for confusion. And that can lead to very grave consequences. And that's what we have right now. In the last 2 years, I said, bring in discipline, remove some people. Listen to this. If you do not remove the wood from the fire, the smoke will continue. Abi I lie?
Correct.
So, it's very painful that PDP should be in this pass. Not because I have any this thing for them, but because, the one that hurts most is that there are people who, through the PDP ticket, became president, became governor, became minister, became senator, became ambassadors, and they are watching their party, the platform that gave them such opportunity, go down. And I'm wondering, what kind of people are these? Okay, not be my wahala, Sha. Now let's go. Ambassador, I'd like us to go through the glorious days of the PDP. How we got to from 1998 into 1999. Some of the personalities that made the PDP happen. I remember clearly Solomon La.
Yeah.
I remember the brilliant Alex Ekwebe.
Correct.
Such huge personalities. People like the Olusegun Obasanjo himself, who became president, and then several. Talk about T.Y. Danjuma, who immediately became the defense minister once the government was formed, and so many others. And then you see such a party become history, or almost becoming history, or becoming a very bad version of what it used to be. For me, it's really painful. Now, first of all, let's go through those early days, those dizzy days, when PDP was PDP. Now, what was the special thing about PDP in those days that you recall? That even made you also become a member later?
Correct. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I want to say that what has happened to PDP is a major lesson in our political space. It shows that even the best thing can become the worst if not carefully taken care of, if mismanaged. Anything you mismanage, you will lose.
Anything you mismanage, you will lose. We'll just take a break, and then we'll get back.
All right.
I hope you heard the ambassador just now, that one of the lessons is that PDP has taught us is that whatever you mismanage, you will lose. We'll take a break and we'll get back. All right, welcome back to The Polity. A while ago, we had started the program, and we needed to take a break. And we're back right now, and incidentally, where the full team is here. In case you didn't get my name before or you're just joining in, my name is Dayo Omogun, and next to me is Ben Agunloye. I'm sure if you are a member of this house, a member of this family, you know Ben Agunloye. Articulate, I mean, full of depth, historical backgrounds in his analysis. Fantastic. And then give it up for Ambassador Moses Kolawole Obisheson also. I mean, articulate analysis. Ever so, I mean, you can, I mean, this is the best of analysts that you can find in Nigeria. I mean, it's just that you guys have not taken the full peel of the Kaftan TV capsule. If you do, and you keep focused on Kaftan television, you'll be glad you did so, because we bring you fantastic set of people all of the time. And so here we are once again, and we're talking about the rise and fall of PDP, and I was talking about the glorious days of PDP, and I was talking about how the party once boasted. A certain chairman in the name of Tony Aneni once said that the party was going to rule for 60 years. But I said maybe the error was that he tried to say 16, only that he came out as 60. Because in reality, they only ruled for 16 years. And after, the one that hurts is that they didn't just fall from power, they fell from grace. There's a difference. You could fall from power and still be in good state, and still being,
Correct.
and still be in good state to fight the next battle, to continue to look good. But then they kept falling, they kept unraveling, they kept, going right down, 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 down. And here we are today. We have a party that has only 2 governors remaining. Zamfara is leaving. Adamawa just left recently. Taraba left already. Plateau left recently. And so on and so forth. What kind of party is that? The one that, where you know that the party lost it, for me, is when a council chairman wins on the platform of the party, and the next day defects to the ruling party again. Which is to say that the party actually does not exist. I'm sorry. Today, as we speak, you have only Bala Muhammad of Bauchi, who, of course, if we understand politicians in this climb very well, will also defect. Because, of course, if you have a party that is not a party, if you have a party that is not a party, if you have a ticket that is not a ticket, if substance has turned to shadow, what do you do? So now, we have Bala Muhammad, we have Makinde in Oyo State. Makinde already has shown signs that he's going to move. A few weeks ago, he was in talks with a number of persons in the ADC looking for a ticket, either to be a VP or something. And so, Makinde is on his way out. Is it Bala? Will Bala Muhammad be the lone savior of the party? So that's where we are. Very sad. But we want to start by taking a look at the glorious days, the days of the Ekwemes of this world, the days of the Solomon Lars of this world, how the party had so much power. The party was about the biggest party in West Africa, if not, after ANC or something.
Yeah, or South Africa.
After ANC or South Africa,
Yeah.
the PDP was the biggest, a behemoth. But where are we? But before we get to where we are, let's start from where we used to be, where PDP used to be. So you were talking, and you were saying that if you mismanage what you have, you will lose it.
Anything you mismanage, you will lose.
Correct.
Sure.
That's the way it is. Anything you mismanage, you will lose. If you mismanage your relationship, your marriage, it will fall apart.
All right, before losing it and all that, let's first of all enjoy those early days. Let's first of all revel in what PDP used to be.
Correct.
In the days of what some people say, share the money. In the days, whether that is correct, whether that is correct or not,
Right
that
or
was
wrong,
that
yeah.
was the opposition. Characterizing the party.
Well, the
But-
beautiful days of
Yes,
PDP,
let's take a look.
started even when when what I would call the wise men came together and put PDP together as a party.
The wise man,
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
And I'll tell you why I said wise men.
Sure, yes.
They ensure that some of the best in our polity were in PDP.
Correct.
That's the truth.
Correct.
You couldn't You couldn't
I
ask
mean,
for.
a place where you had Alex Ekweme, you had
You
Solomon
had,
La.
you had
You
all
had
of
this,
the best
At,
brains.
is it
at takeoff point,
At takeoff point.
Fantastic.
they have even Bola Ige with them.
Yes.
Was Bola Ige in PDP?
Bola Ige drafted the first
Okay, okay,
constitution
yes, Bola
of the
Ige,
PDP
correct,
before walking
correct.
away. So the G38 was more like the cross of the people who stood the last set standing, challenging for democracy.
Including this
were those who
Kogi
formed the
man. What's the
party.
name of that man that was...
Adeni,
not Adeni.
Awoni.
Awoni, sorry, Awoni.
Awoni.
So they were all there. But the way you want to look at it
SB
is
Awoni.
PDP
Correct.
started very strong
Correct.
by people who have information, who had experience, who had knowledge,
Correct.
and who have a vision of what they needed for the nation.
For the nation. And which was good at the
but
time.
they started, in my opinion, dropping the ball so early.
Early. No. Before they
no,
dropped the
Yeah,
ball.
no,
Before they
no,
dropped
let's
the
look
ball.
at
Before
it.
they dropped the ball.
Let's talk about the good
enjoy-
that they did.
let's
Yeah,
enjoy
that's
the-
what I'm
now,
saying.
Let's
It-
enjoy
it-
the glorious...
Because when you say the good, yes, they have a vision, and then they began to set up teams. And basically, when whoever does not contribute to your priority ordinarily should not be needed in your program. But in an
maybe you want to
idea,
say, whoever does not understand your priority
if you cannot contribute to it, if you don't understand it, you can't
can't
contribute to it. So whoever cannot contribute to your priorities is ordinarily not needed in your program.
In the execution.
So in the execution of your program. So I think that at those points, yes, they were big. Yes, the space was open. Yes, there were no establishment, other establishment. They were the only establishment, and that's why I always call them the establishment party.
Correct.
Because everybody who matters and seems to be important
Correct.
was there.
was there.
Correct.
And so that larger than life approach came up. And in that process, they had the government, they had the team, they were able to reach out here and there and began their process of expansion.
Correct.
So as a party at takeoff, they understood the nation. They knew the need of the system, and they were trying to fill the space as best as they could. And why they were able to do that, because that was the need of the time, because it was a nation in transition, the PDP, you will say, thrived and did well for those years.
Okay. Thank you very much. Basically, what I need to add to that at the beginning of PDP is that PDP was established very strong because he enjoyed both the participation of he enjoyed both the participation of the military who were just eager to look for someone to trust. So he enjoyed the participation, he enjoyed the patronage of the military, because we were just exiting the military, and they carefully look for someone that they could rest the power on. So aside from the fact that PDP was formed with some of the best politicians in Nigeria as at the time, they also enjoyed such a wonderful patronage. So you had Obasanjo was looked for to be able to compensate, for the annulment of June 12th, because all of this, our democracy as at that time was actually hinged on what had happened to Abiola. So Abiola was denied. Abiola was actually was not installed as a president and all of that. And then they now looked at how can they compensate the Southwest where he came from? They went not only to Southwest, they went even to his state. And that's okay. If Abiola has been robbed of 1993 election, through the annulment that actually happened by the then IBB. So how do we compensate for all of this imbalance? And they went to Southwest, went to Ogun State, and also got Obasanjo to come. Obasanjo being a former general, in the army, they felt that they could trust Obasanjo. And Obasanjo came on board, and it was fantastic. Because the guy came in from what I will call retirement. He came in from what I will call retirement to come on board to really, to run, the show. And it was fantastic because Obasanjo hit the ground running. You could remember then Abdul Salami came. Abdul Salami was the, last military head of state that ruled us then. And he just did it for 9 months. He organized election quickly and handed over to Obasanjo. Now, you might say that it wasn't just a one-party system, but I can tell you that it was just two-party. But even the two-party system, 80% of the strength was with the PDP. Others shared the other 20, because it's just to give a coloration of election that more than one party was there, but the choice was Obasanjo, and the choice, and the party was PDP. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so the guy came on board, and they wrested power, and they ensured, they gave him the power under the PDP. So it was beautiful. All right. So the guy was able, as at that time, to be able to actually keep the military at bay.
At bay. Fantastic. I was going to go there.
Yeah.
Now, if you're just joining us, we're talking about the rise and fall of the PDP, part 1.
Yeah.
I intend that this will go like 3 different series.
Yeah.
Now, if you remember in secondary school, we were taught, I'm not talking about secondary school of the last 10, 15, 20 years. I'm talking about some many years back, when we were taught about the rise and fall, the rise and fall of Mali Empire. How many, do you remember that?
Yes.
Songhai Empire.
Massacre Kamisa.
Exactly. The Mansa Musas.
Yes.
The Alsa Bokwe,
even
the Aligadi,
Uganda.
and then that's when you knew that Timbuktu
Yeah.
was a major trade hub and all of that. And then you had all kinds of dynasties, the Uthman Danfodio dynasty, right?
Yep.
And so on and so forth. There was even this, I had a history teacher who was quite dramatic. Fantastic. He's dead now.
Yeah.
He will make you feel as if you're in the picture.
Correct.
He will teach it as if he was there when it happened. Okay. Oh, well. So now, that's exactly what we're doing right now concerning the PDP. Unfortunately, because indeed, at this point where they are, there's no doubts anywhere. The party is dead.
No.
Okay, it's not
Almost.
dead. All right. Now, but we want to talk. We want to, for these few more minutes, we still want to concentrate on the rise.
Yeah.
Before we go down
Yeah.
to the fall.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about, for example, the last point he talked about, they kept the military at bay.
Correct.
And I will never forget how the president, Olusegun Obasanjo of that time, 1999, May 29, right?
Yep.
Had to retire, I think on that very day, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Retired 90, if I remember. 90 generals.
Correct.
It was unprecedented.
Yeah. Yeah.
In fact, when I heard it, my head was heavy. I was like, this thing could cause a problem.
Correct.
But no, that was the right thing to
Correct.
do. That was the way by which to make them
Yeah. Stay in the barracks.
stay there,
Yeah.
stay where they ought to be.
Correct.
And so, those were some of the fantastic steps that were taken at the time.
Yeah.
Don't forget, the same PDP government ensured that our loans, our
Forgiven.
debt was
Yeah,
forgiven.
was received. Yeah.
That was something
Correct.
fantastic.
Correct.
And so, let's take a look at a few more of those good
Another
points.
thing to add to what was done then was that Obasanjo assembled one of the finest ministers you can think of.
T.Y. Danjuma for defense.
T.Y. Danjuma, even when T.Y. Danjuma said, look, you know what, I'm tired. I'm already retired. He said, you know what, for the first time we had 4 ministers man the Ministry of Defense. He was there as the main minister. Then he had minister for Army, minister for Navy, minister for Air Force. So there were 3 ministers they actually joined to be able to support T.Y. Danjuma for the very first and for the only time, never again. Because the guy said, look, I can't run around with all of these people, and the guy did that. Obasanjo brought in some of the very best. I mean, the Madam Due
the
process,
Ezekwesili,
the Ezekwesili,
yeah.
you know, of this world, the Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, all of those guys who really, these people were ready to serve. It wasn't about accumulation of money. It was about bringing Nigeria back to global stardom. Bringing Nigeria back to a pride of place.
And for a moment, it looked as if they were.
He did. He was really. Obasanjo refused to be a state guy. I mean, to be an Ogun State
Local champion.
a local champion. No. In fact, some persons till tomorrow they are criticizing it.
Yes.
That look, you did so much for Nigeria, but
You
what
couldn't
did you
even
do
do
for
something
Ogun
specific
State?
for Ogun State.
In fact, there was a particular road and bridge that
Yes.
you never did. And they said that look, you were there when you were there making sure that the country is together, but you were not looking at the state. And they said, you know what, I am a pan-African, pan-Nigeria. During Obasanjo ordered the military, who actually overthrew a government, that go back. How dare you? Nigeria took the pride of place as a people under PDP during that time. Look, someone came for, I mean, they just came for a meeting and they overthrew the government. They just said, no, you know what, I give you guys 48 hours. But I return the whatever, or you're going to get the wrong side of me. And that went back. You know why? People understood that we're true giant of Africa at that time. Military-wise, whichever way, we supported a whole lot of other African countries to really be able to stand. That was the kind of leadership that we had. He wasn't just a military person. He was just, you know, he was sold out to be able to do the right. You understand what I'm saying? And during himself, he didn't condone any whatever. He changed, even when you read the Senate president and all of that. If you're not doing the right thing, whatever, this guy he was a bulldozer.
In some of those cases, it was also an abuse of power.
Well,
because he doesn't
you
have power.
know, when you know where you're coming from, he was coming as a military man. He was coming from where he was a dictator. So, but you know, the blend of dictatorship.
He had always been a moderate dictator. He had always been like a benevolent dictator.
Correct.
If you like.
So he was coming from that end, from being an average military person is a dictator, now to a democracy. The blend of the two was the finest, where he's not too lax to just say whatever they want to do. No. He will say, look, this is the way we are going. How to now go about
because
it?
Indeed, from what you're saying, and I agree to a large extent, these are democratic things can also be very unwieldy and
extremely
unnecessarily difficult to manage if you're not firm. And I think that his military background made him want to stand firm on certain occasions, even though it was anti-democratic. Because a situation where the executive will now get into the legislature to try to choose who leads them. The case of the Okadigbos of this world, the case of the Evans Ewerims of this world,
5
and so
Senate presidents.
During his time,
and all of that.
He removed the IG.
Does not.
During his time.
There's no. IG is his appointee.
But removing the Senate
president.
But changing the Senate president anyhow, obviously.
No. The circumstance of removing that IG wasn't the normal one.
What I'm saying is, any of the IG, you appoint the IG. The president has the power to appoint the IG.
If I appoint you, I should be able to fire you too.
Remove the IG. There is no two way.
He showed that he was decisive and he was going to get things done. Some other person would dance around that for so long, they won't get it done. Good. Because I've seen many presidents, if not about 6 or so presidents from that time till now, and I understand where they are weak. I know that they can talk around a whole lot of stuff, but they are unable to
I think we have a problem with context, with perception, and with interests.
Correct.
Because for me, you must be able to sift and say, where does the weight lie?
Correct.
If this man took this decision, what was the overriding factor?
Correct.
I see situations, for example, where Obasanjo gets blamed for blotting out, quote unquote, blotting out OD.
Okay.
So were you going to now pamper people who died? Oh, sorry. Okay, that's social media language. Who killed 13, was it? 13 or 11 policemen?
Yeah.
Policemen, right?
Yeah.
Policemen.
Yeah.
But we see people now go ahead and kill even more than policemen.
recently they even killed 40 soldiers. I mean, people were ambushed and 40
soldiers
were just killed. You see, when Obasanjo was doing what he was doing then, people didn't see the good. He had to.
Me as a person, it hurts my sensibilities when you begin to criticize that without looking at the entire sphere and say, what was this man trying to do?
Correct.
Was trying to ensure that there is deterrence.
Correct.
We need to look at it both ways.
Yeah.
Odi was leveled.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah.
But did that stop militancy in the Niger Delta?
It
did not.
No.
As people who were in the military.
No, wait.
You will know that in the real sense of
the simple test.
It increased.
Then the simple test is this.
Because people were on the naval personnel on the sea couldn't come.
No, the simple test
the patrol
of whether that was effective.
What happens next is that the militants were not in Odi when they demolished Odi. Those guys have run away. Look at the last massacre in Delta. For how long did it took? I'm not sure if they have all the people who killed those soldiers up till now.
Yeah.
They have hold the city down, do this and that. Because what happens is they have stayed here. They have created a problem. They have moved. Right? And they continue to spread. And let us be sincere. By the time Obasanjo was leaving, Niger Delta, the oil production was going down by the day.
No.
For what they allow people to do with
that's
them.
Enough. Okay.
But that wasn't
Did you say that?
good enough for the entire.
Very good, but it was good for Odi.
Yeah, but it was not good for our oil production.
Let me say something to you.
Life in the country.
No, but let me answer something that you raised. Because we've turned this. It's no longer anchor and it's a talk thing.
Yeah.
Now, do you realize if you say that it was not effective, after the OD experience, have you had people killing policemen in that way in that
environment? Never.
Have you had it?
The one we had in the last one in court.
No,
you cannot put that on Obasanjo now. That's what we're saying is that
on him. What I'm saying is this: let's be
around that time. You couldn't try it any longer.
Let's be fair and
within that time.
It happened in OD. Yes, there are, but what happens thereafter? What was the reason for the crisis in OD?
Yeah.
There was even another one after
It has to do with the Niger Delta crisis.
Yeah.
It has to do with the Niger Delta crisis. And I'm saying that even though they did not summon the courage to repeat what happened in OD, now when it spreads on the waterfront, on the creek, I'm sure you know that nobody was given the proper account. It's not even like now that we are in the days of heavy social media. Social media wasn't heavy in 1990 and 99 or 2007.
Yeah.
So a lot of people died. Look, there were families who had issues, but nobody was reporting them correctly because of the dangers involved. And of course, the militants also, if it is today, the militants would have been showing you every day their escapades, what they were doing with the police, what they were doing with the military. So what I'm saying is, the idea can be good to an extent, but the reality was that it didn't solve the problem.
You know why it did not solve the problem? We now had a Yaradua that came after Obasanjo.
Under Obasanjo, the problem was not solved. It was that actually came and said, let's use amnesty.
Yes.
It was amnesty that solved it.
Yeah.
Correct.
The killing.
Amnesty solved. Let me tell you the way it's called carrot and stick. Because they've experienced the stick and they understood that it will not be good to have a repeat of it. So they when he now dangled the carrot, they took it.
Exactly.
That was what happened.
The pre-OD South may not even have accepted the
carrot. They wouldn't have accepted the carrot. They would have just said no. They won't take it. They would still. But they realized that what we suffered under the immediate past, whatever, we do not want that to repeat itself during Yaradua.
And now that we're
so Yaradua now called all of them to the villa, and they accepted it. Even the Yaradua solving the Niger Delta is also a good thing for PDP. It's
also another point.
It's one of the high points of
PDP.
So
let's spend the next 5 or so minutes talking about the glorious past of the PDP also. Let's see.
But basically, all I'm saying there is that Yaradua came in first of all for us to have the first president who acknowledged the fact that the election that brought me to power was compromised, has issues. It wasn't free and fair. we had never had any president who was good enough to have been able to
honest enough
to say, you know what,
large-hearted.
You know, to say, you know what, this wasn't the best of election. So I'm going to work on a de-electioneering of the country. That was good.
Something in that same spirit
Yep.
also happened under the Obasanjo regime.
Yep.
When you had the reconciliation committee under Justice Oputa,
Yep.
the chairmanship of Justice
Correct.
Oputa,
Correct.
where people were brought from different pain to come express their pain.
Correct.
And see how we could heal.
Yeah.
Whether it achieved the purpose,
Yeah.
I do not quite can.
It did. You
but at
see,
least
the purpose.
there was some effort.
What
made
it
in
achieved is that, you
direction.
see, when you allow people to talk
Talk.
and ventilate, it reduces the anger.
True.
The anger in the land was heightened to say, how could you have done this? IBB, you killed MKO, da da da. There was so much bottled anger. When Obasanjo came and he brought that reconciliation, we put a panel and everybody came to talk. You see, when you do that and you have some persons to be able to say sorry here and there and all of that, I'm telling you that it really deflated the steam of anger that was in the land. So it does. People don't. It's not. I mean, it's only recently that IBB came to come and talk about what truly happened and all of that. Because around that time, if he had come out to say something, it would have maybe exploded the country.
Correct.
So he needed to wait and allow. Even most of the guys who are in the forefront right now, they didn't even understand what happened 30 years ago, because 1993 to right now is about 33 years ago. You understand what it is? So those who understood, who were at the forefront, are already very old. They can't really go into militancy. Those who were just born around that time, they really did not understand what really transpired with MKO. So they were. It was able to really help to build up. To help to soften the pain, in the heart of others, and that is actually what some of the other presidents that came have been able to sustain. Recently, during Tinubu, right now, he's been able to give acceptance. They've been able to accept the fact that MKO was actually the winner of the election, and they've been able to give him a whole lot of honors and all of that. His kids have actually been called to come and really felicitate and just really hang out with him to say, look, we feel you. And
I think they should just complete that by also putting his image among past leaders.
It will be done. You see, when you start something, you also...
That's a distraction. That's not what we're really looking at.
Yeah.
Let's come right back.
Let's come right back. So basically for me, I think that we had Obasanjo, who was he wasn't only a nationalistic guy, he was also a very disciplined guy. You understand, in terms of president and what he did. He was also a pan-African person. He raised the bar of the respect that Nigerian had, and also he was able to really negotiate out. We had the Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala of this world who were able to negotiate Nigeria, and that's a good one. Nigeria was really at one of its finest and one of its best.
Let's not forget that in this same country we had a minister who once said that telephone is not for the poor. But under the same PDP government, that changed until today. You have mothers in the farthest corners of villages can call their
maybe
sons,
we should tell the Gen Zs and all of them that it was during PDP and during Obasanjo that MTN came in. And a number of them, Airtel, Glow and all of that. The guy privatized, because before it was an epileptic. If you go to anybody's house and you see that, some people will be talking about.
It was a class thing.
When I was dating my wife, I would go and line up behind Nitel. You know how you kill people? They can't. I'm sure some people.
They can't understand.
Daddy, what did you say? Who kill behind whatever? Everybody will be hearing what you're saying. You want to call a woman in there, and she also must be somewhere where she can receive it. Hello, baby, I miss you. I do whatever I did. What is he talking about? That was where we're coming from. What you have in your hands, and where some people have many of it, wasn't there. It was during OBJ, during PDP, that all of that happened. There was accelerated growth, accelerated improvement, accelerated.
I think like both of you identified,
Yeah.
the party really meant to do well.
Yeah.
But somehow along the line, they got derailed
Yeah.
by their own same problems, which we will come to.
Yeah.
Don't forget, that same government introduced the NHIS.
Correct. NHIS, yeah.
Huge one.
Correct.
Especially if we had followed it and expanded it to what it should be by now.
Correct.
That was well thought out.
Yeah.
And don't forget due process.
Yep. Madam Due Process,
Madam Ezekwesili,
Yeah.
and all of that.
Yeah.
And you had the BP,
Yeah.
Bureau of Private
Oh,
Enterprises,
yeah.
which from the story we heard, Atiku brought in El Rufai to come head the organization at the
Correct.
time and all that. And they did a fantastic job.
Correct. We
So-
even had El Rufai as the
BP
FCT
DG.
At some point, he became FCT
FCT minister and all that.
and the rest of it.
So I think, and then don't forget, they also how do you say it? Recovered the master
Looted
plan,
fund.
the FCT
Oh,
master
okay,
plan.
yeah, sure,
The FCT
yeah.
master plan.
They restored the
When
FCT.
El Rufai was minister of the FCT. So a whole lot was achieved actually
Yeah.
under the PDP.
Correct.
So at this point, I think we can begin to go. So how did the fall begin, and what led to it? And I think that you are the one that should come in here. How did they suddenly fall from that gargantuan height? How did they suddenly become panda, if you want?
No, the truth will be this: governance, for me, is a teamwork.
Yeah.
It's not an individual solo effort. And I think that having gotten to power, number one, at the point of even putting people in power, I still believe till tomorrow, in my opinion, that there were people who do not understand the vision and the mission of the PDP who got into power in the party.
You hinted at that earlier.
So when
yes.
you have that somebody you have given your trust to,
So who does not
understand the fundamentals
your vision
upon which that trust was built, is likely going to run and then get you into trouble. And I'm sure that that is part of where they have problem with their internal democracy. Yes, we can. The president at the time, 1990-2007, for the Nation for Africa, you can point to a lot of achievements. But inside the party, a lot was
going
not
on that
properly
was wrong.
done. If you say North Central should produce the chairman, and Anawoni you say is contesting, I thought it, for me, it was wrong for anybody to tell him not to contest. If you have the power to determine who would win, so allow him to contest, and then of course he will lose within the structure of the party because you have a sentiment to campaign against him. But telling him
Not
don't,
to.
I think was not fair to him, and of course a lot of people in the party saw that also as not good enough. 60 years to rule for 60 years was a statement from Vincent Ogbulafo.
Was it,
I
no,
believe,
was it
yes,
Ogbulafo?
it's from Vincent Ogbulafo.
Not Tony Aneni, it was Tony
Not
Aneni.
It was from Vincent Ogbulafo, the secretary.
Yeah.
And if Ogbulafo is still alive, he can confirm this statement. I have saw him on the sideline of a conference for cooperation and this thing in Africa, where
Integration.
Salim Ahmed Salim, the then Secretary General of OAU, was with him, and then Abbas Bundu, I think was the Secretariat or was the Secretary General of ECOWAS. The two of them were with him at the conference secretariat. I was working on a copier close to them, and one of them asked him, why we learn you want to resign as a minister? You're doing a good job for integration in Africa. Why do you want to resign as a minister to become the secretary
Of the
of
party.
a party? He said, you see, as a minister you can be fired at any time because you are not elected, you are appointed. But as the secretary of the party, you are tenured and you can have a plan that you will go through and see through in your tenure. But we all know today that Vincent Ogbulafo was forced to resign or sacked as the secretary of the party. Now, so when you see people who carried vision, people who carried program, people who try to do things, and then within the party they are stifled. There are people who have tickets, and the tickets were taken away from them on the order of the president, nor by the democratic process of the party. We have people like Mimiko who got told you cannot contest as for governorship. The governor have a lot of clout, so you should have allowed him to contest in PDP. If he loses the primary, he will possibly still stay in the party. But telling him that I cannot contest, and we know what that led to. In Ondo, Mimiko left for Labour Party,
and he won
eventually won and became the governor. So you have that impunity. One, the internal democracy of the party was wrong, and then there were ways they do a number of things with absolute impunity. It is good to have technocrats in cabinet, but it's also sometimes good that you look at who are the people anchoring the party in the different stratas and layers. Now, when you begin to have ministers, majority of whom will be there and cannot connect with the party at the grassroots, it's a problem for the party. Now, definitely for somebody like Segun Agaga. Segun Agaga was minister representing Lagos State for 8 years. And I kept asking till tomorrow, where is Segun Agaga electoral ward in Lagos?
Good.
Which part of the party in Lagos does he relate with? Lagos was an opposition state. And then you got a minister representing that state who is not an indigene and who is not a member of the party in the state. So when you look at those things, it does not agree or align with how to run a party.
Does that mean, Ben, that you would prefer to put politicians in ministerial office over what do you call these people now?
Technocrats. Are there technocrats who are also in politics or who are relevant to the grassroots? The answer is yes. So if you are going for a technocrat that is relevant to the grassroots, you are doing the party a favor because they have someone to run to, but not somebody who had lived the most part of his life in London and then you are just ferrying him to come and be a minister. Well, so he does his meeting in Abuja and he can actually fly back from Abuja to London. Yeah. So to an extent,
you said Aganga was not an indigene of Lagos.
Yes.
Why are you connecting him with Lagos after the break? We'll take a break right now. Yeah. Welcome back, and I hope you are having a great time with us on this program. We've been talking about the rise and fall of PDP, the way they taught us rise and fall of Mali Empire in those days, Songhai Empire, and so many other empires, and how they taught us about the origin of the Hausas, something Bokwe.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one Bokwe.
Yeah.
You know? As you know, I'm sure some people can connect with what I'm saying right now. And in fact, people in the studio, my guests, are nodding to it. So that's what we're doing today. We're trying to look at how did this behemoth of a party rise and then suddenly go down the way it has gone down. Right now, just before we went on the break, Ben was telling us about how the party shot itself in the foot by reason of impunity in its system, and will allow him to continue from that point.
Yes, so what we're saying is basically straightforward. You are a party. Okay, you were making reference to Mali Empire now.
Yeah.
I did history for maybe only 1 or 1.5 years, but I still can remember my teacher coming to class one day and put up a question. He said, security leads to danger, delinquency and tranquility in the old Mali Empire. Explain. You will see that because they felt so secured as a party, we have the nation, so we can do and undo. Like the case of Aganga I mentioned, I remember that the 3 senators from Lagos objected to his nomination. But because they were the majority party, they went ahead. I think the rule at that time was that if 2 of the 3 senators from a state object to the nomination of a candidate, the candidate should be stepped of a ministerial candidate, the candidate should be stepped down. But in this case, the 3 in Lagos resolutely objected to the use of an Aganga, but they still went ahead. Because somebody was mentioning, how about Okonjo-Iweala? Okonjo-Iweala is recognized to be from Delta, The father is possibly even a royal father, and they are connected. So show me a Agagan family house or family dynasty in Lagos State, in any part. He might have been born there. That's not arguable. Being born there confers on him maybe the issue of citizenship, but for political participation, I think that he should have lived there and he should have related with the people there. Now, it doesn't happen only there. It happens in other places where you are going to see a state that is so broad and so divergent, and then you have 2 or 3 ministers and they are coming from the same senatorial district in the state. Some of those things were done out of what we will call because they are secured. Then they became delinquent in doing due diligence in ensuring that this thing goes round. And of course, there is the fight of the ticket.
What you mean by all of this is that in the process, they were creating bad blood.
Sure.
Okay. So secondly, I do not want to only totally put the blame on impunity. I want to say that, you see, when you just started, remember, the Fourth Republic, the democracy that we enjoy till today just only started at that time. I think that it was still a teething period for the democratic experience as at that time, because the constitution was newly just put in there. Okay, how do we run this? It was even later that PDP now enshrined in its rule to say, okay, because of our nature as a country, that let's have the president come from the north and do his 8 years term, and then goes to the south and do 8 years term in PDP. The point I'm just trying to say is that some of the drop balls that you have identified as being, the early reason for the fall that we see, that it could have come from impunity. I want to say that quite a number of them came from lack of experience, because they had nowhere to look at.
No reference point.
No reference point. They just started, they were doing what they need to do best, how they need to do. In trying to protect.
And many times zeal.
Yes, zeal without knowledge.
Wisdom.
You understand? So that really led to a lot of the bad blood that you're saying. Oh, why did you do this? Why not that? You can say this from power of hindsight.
Yes.
But when they were acting the script, really a lot of them just feel like,
and that's why now APC is in a better place.
Correct, because APC have seen how it could not work.
Yes,
I mean they've
so
watched.
If they fall, it could be then that they are worse off as
correct. If they fall now, that means that they've not learned, because even if anything is going to pull them down, let it not be what pulled the PDP down. Because all of the 3 gentlemen that actually led during PDP were fantastic people. Obasanjo gave that presidency the best shot he could. Yar'Adua came in and he gave amnesty to the people of the South, and it was fantastic. He came and he also
for the first time, remember,
for the very first time. Yes, and also he even said, look, you know something. Not only amnesty, but he just said, look, the election was flawed. We got to do something about it. And he worked. Jonathan came after even during PDP, they were able to manage. That's the first time that we're going to see a sitting president die. It never happened before in our history. So it became a very turbulent time.
Sitting civilian.
Civilian president.
In 1966, without doing a coup, die out of natural cause. Die out of natural cause.
Died out of natural cause. Yes.
So you now have a situation where that's what they said. Whatever of necessity,
doctrine of necessity,
and all of that. So the point I'm trying to say is that PDP presidency have actually done so well. In fact, let me also even say something that PDP that Jonathan said, my blood, the blood of no Nigerian, my aspiration is not what the blood of a Nigerian. That's a legendary statement. That's a statement postulation. That's what we should be looking out for. These guys have done incredibly well. You know, PDP was able to manage all of the unrest and instability and all of that, to still make the vice president to become president, even when he came from the other side of the divide, because they were saying, how can we lose the governance time of the North to give it to the South? But after much back and forth, they were able to just still stay with the Constitution. I thumb up for them. PDP has done so much well. And finally,
don't forget, let me chip this in. That party also has proved itself better than the party that took over from it in the last 12 years, about 11 years.
yeah,
In the terms of being nationalistic. Like you said before, and you said this before, Obasanjo assembled people from everywhere,
Everywhere,
that could
sure.
make a good contribution
Yep.
to the country. Now, same happened concerning Yaradua. Same happened under Jonathan. But suddenly, by the time Buhari took over, we had a government run. I mean, but this is the truth.
Yeah,
Run
yeah.
by Fulanis.
yeah.
For, I mean, how is democracy now?
Governors of the people, for the people, by the people. But maybe for the people, by the
By the Fulanis, for the people. I mean, it was.
he was really
We
bad.
had
Yeah.
19 security heads of security, and I think almost the whole 19 were from the north, and mostly Fulani. That
Yeah.
was a blot.
Yeah, yeah. We're not talking about. Sorry,
Yeah.
we're not even talking about the APC.
Let's go
We'll
back
come back next time.
Yeah,
We'll debate it open.
let's
But
go
for
back
now,
to PDP.
we're talking about what PDP have done right.
Right
And-
now, let's go back to okay. you
No.
said-
Right,
Well, because we're saying why did they fall?
Yes.
I'm telling you that some of the things they did right make them fall. I'll give you an instance. When Jonathan came, he said, "Who can manage the electoral system so that we can have free, fair, and credible election?" That was one of his mistakes, because he brought in Jega, and to a large extent, people felt that Jega actually played to the gallery. That's number one. Number two, Jonathan said, you know what? Because of to save chaos and unnecessary bloodshed, he called the opponent and said, "Okay, Buhari, you've won. Take the whatever." If it had been someone else, some other person, it would have been blood for blood and whatever it is.
Whatever
So
it is.
the point I'm trying to say is, when you are talking about the rise and fall, I'm also saying that there are some things that they did that they thought that would have actually, that should count for them, even though with power of hindsight they will be regretting it. That, wait a minute, look what I did here and all that. So for me, yes, they've gone up, they've come down, but also I'm also going to tell you some of the internal things that they did that brought them down.
Right.
I'm going to tell you number one, because I'm inside there. I mean, I was inside there. I realized that apart from just impunity, apart from whatever, PDP, we played too much around some things. I love that you used to usually say that, why not discipline? One of the key actor of we losing and continue to fragment, because the one that we've discussed, we've just finished discussing, is that of PDP losing power. But PDP now breaking down into pieces is a different ballgame. It is actually the handiwork of those who were still in the PDP. A few major players that I'm going to actually name is Atiku and Wike.
That's it.
These two guys are the major.
They're the ones that destroyed the party.
They are the major, because they are five. Actually fragmented PDP to where it is today.
No,
maybe I'm going to add the third one. I'm going to add the third one. The first person that started the further fragmentation was actually Senator Ali Modu Sheriff.
Okay.
I'm telling you, that guy weakened PDP
party, yeah.
terribly.
Yeah.
Senator Ali Modu Sheriff started, and I believe strongly as at that time that he was planted in PDP to actually go destroy PDP. So we had Senator Ali Modu Sheriff, then we had the unending hunger and selfishness, if you're going to permit me, of Atiku Abubakar. Atiku would have been, look at Alex Ekweme, vice president. The guy just enjoyed his life, not creating instability and all of that. Atiku has
Meanwhile, it was tipped as one of the best candidates even for the 1990
1999.
The election, presidency. So, but the issue I'm saying is that because if we're not placing it where it is, you'll be wondering that, is it just only no. After the ruling, whatever, if these three persons have not, really acted the way they acted, PDP would. We may still be in opposition, but possibly will have not less than 10 or more governors really managing the whatever. But Alimadi Sheriff came, he messed up Ahmed Makarfi, who was supposed to be the chairman as at that time. He was a chairman as at that time. When he finished, Atiku came and Atiku said he must be, and the power must come back to the north, because he said if he doesn't go to the southeast, and that southeast was only a booby trap. He was just saying, no, Wike, don't contest. And the fall went on and on and on. Today, one court judgment or the other. Yes. One court judgment or the other made it so. I don't blame any of those governors leaving, because you are not sure. You don't have a party. You don't have a party. Today they will say, okay, it is the Makinde side. Tomorrow it is the Wike side. So people don't look at it and say, no.
If they must survive politically,
they got to move. Look at, in fact, you should pity a governor like my governor, Adeleke. He had to move into a very small party. Why? Because he looked at it that he tried to enter APC. They did not allow it. So he looked at it that, look, it's better, even a tinier party, a smaller party, is better than no party at all. So that guy had to move. Today, I don't know his political future. You understand? Because two things you need to be able to win an election. The first one is your personality. The second one is the party under which on which you are actually running. If you run from a very small party, how many persons will run around for you, will protect your interest, protect the votes to make sure that it is not swinged into another place. But if out of 1,000 polling booths where they should vote you, only 300 are your persons there, and the other opposition, the other person has all over capacity to be in the whole 1,000, the chances of they actually manipulating another is higher. Am I saying it should be? I'm saying that is where we are now, where INEC alone cannot guarantee the electoral process. No. You need your people at each of the polling booths to be able to really stand the ground for you.
All right, so we have barely 14 minutes to go, and I thought that some of you who have enjoyed this program thus far would like to call in and weigh in on what we're talking about, and the number is still the same, 08029938365, and if that's too fast, I'll slow you down, 08029938365. I hope that you got that. Please do call in, would really appreciate it. And so now let's take a look again now at the fall. Very unfortunate. The fall.
You see, I think I'll go back to where I started. That in Mali Empire, in Songhai Empire, we said security give way to danger, the delinquency, and of course, whatever followed after. When you say the confidence was there with the Jonathan era, that we are so loved that we cannot lose an election. Now, I also believe that him and some of those advising him are now aware of the intricacies of election at the grassroots.
Correct.
And so the idea therefore was, since we believe we cannot lose, it doesn't matter where the election is conducted. There is a way the Obama say, that is, no matter how tiny the soup is, those who will be satisfied will be satisfied, because they know how to swallow. Because they know how to swallow without the soup. Some people can swallow without the soup. I actually see that as that is the essence of it. That's why we would always get enough. I think that assumption was not good enough. The assumption also that once you have a PDP ticket, you would win. Maybe in 2003 and 2007.
In
2003 and 2007, that was obvious. But we also know that if we go back to look at results, we will see the loss in Ondo was, of course, because the manipulation was foolish. That's to Mimiko. You have the ballot papers that were stuffed in the box reaching Cross River State. They were not even in those state ballot papers. And that's what they mean in the Olujoke and one or two other. Those were the evidence that the part of what they challenged in court, that the man said, okay, remove those ballot papers, those trained ballot papers, because they were not meant to be used in Ondo State. Now, whether it was a genuine mistake or it was as a result of manipulation, whatever it was, the party had structure to have been able to mitigate those things,
Correct.
which they did not.
Correct.
In 2003 election, and I think it was Ogun, the presidential election was like double the result for governorship election that was held on the same day. As a matter of fact, some even said that the presidential election, the 1.3 million, was more than the number of voters that registered in the state. Of course, the Supreme Court has something to say about. So you will realize that if you have understood that, look, it is not because you actually have more number or you have no wider acceptance that gave you the result you have in the past, then you would have been careful in doing things going forward. Then you also need to look at asking someone to come and be PDP Governors Forum chairman. Now, of course, you see that high-handedness in relating to party members who actually had option to be able to go elsewhere and seek alignment. So people will say it's a function of party discipline. No, sometimes you need an erring child can be called to order without necessarily banishing them, because when you banish an erring child, you have given him an opportunity to just move. I think it's one joke I saw somewhere one day. A man was coming in late, and then the wife was like, go back to where you are coming. And he decided to go back. He now said, oh, wait, where are you even coming from? And then he mentioned the place. And then he realized, oh, he's sending her back to a woman's house. So he quickly dragged him and said, you are going nowhere. So it's a case of that. But if you have asked him to go, perhaps he will go, find a home in that place, and then decide not to come back. And you won't be able to blame him for not coming back. Yeah. Then, of course, you will see that, again, like I said at the foundation, there were people who had vision. There were people who had passion. There were people who had program for PDP. Between 1999 and 2007, how much respect did we show to these people? What placement and position did we put them? Majority of them have either been silenced or been pushed out.
Like which people? Give specific examples. Are you talking like, for example, the chairman?
Awoliyi and the rest of them, and Audu and co. These are people who have been with you from the beginning, but at some point you begin. Even Vincent Ogbulafor, like I said, the way he was treated was definitely not proper.
Did he know better then?
You see, no, what I'm saying is, the way they were treated was not good. And Obasanjo was leaving and drafted the constitution for the party that makes him the only person that is qualified to be the BOT chairman. Now, he has a slogan of election is, how did he use that language? That that was, I think, towards 2007 election. He said this election is do and or die for me and for PDP. So Jonathan might be there speaking peace, but he's being backed by people who are actually speaking war. So to a large extent, there is a difference between the temperature of those in office and those who are outside.
No.
So if he's the BOT chairman of the party and he believes in do or die, it doesn't matter what you say as the sitting president. To a large extent, what the party executive has to say, what the party people, because they are the ones addressing the masses, they are the ones getting the vote, they are the ones who will go to the polling units and the polling booths and talk to the masses. It's what they say that some people will hear. There are people who have never listened to the president speak in Nigeria, but they've always voted in presidential election.
All right, you just mentioned Jonathan, and I was going to go there too. Now, we had a Jonathan, Goodluck Jonathan, who filled in the space at the remaining part of the tenure
Correct.
Yeah.
of his principal,
Yeah.
Yar'Adua. And then, as any of us, I'm sure, would be disposed to, he felt like he should do a full term of his own.
Correct.
Yeah.
How do you, now looking back, with the benefit of hindsight, how did that really impact? What did it contribute to this pass that PDP has found itself?
For me, sincerely, I don't see anything wrong. Look, we must be careful with what we think is morally right and what is constitutional
or
right.
was it the second time he was trying to come in that was the problem?
No. He tried to come in for the second time. You see, the first one was, they call it whatever of necessity. This,
Yeah, the thing of necessity.
yes, he was what he had to do.
Okay.
And he had to do that to complete the
Which
tenure
was
of
up to the 2015. Right?
yeah. Now, which was up to 2015. Now, let me say, remember, which was up to
which was up to
2011.
2011.
Now, he now did his own
Yeah.
time, which is 2015.
Very good.
Let me now say something.
2011,
Yes.
his attempt,
2015.
his
Yeah.
attempt to come back, how did it contribute to what the PDP found, what PDP finally found
I am
itself?
saying that Jonathan himself shot himself on the foot.
Oh,
That's what happened. Look, let me tell you, we have not reached a situation where
okay, by choosing,
yes, the umpire wasn't
he
according
should have
to,
chosen his own boy.
he would have chosen somebody that is sure that worst case you're going to actually be, yeah, it's not going to be biased towards anybody. Go and check in PDP that time. It was actually it was majorly carried that the umpire was unfair to Jonathan. He edged, he contributed to hedging out Jonathan around that time. So the point I'm trying to say there is that, you see, when you have somebody who, Jonathan was too nice for what we were practicing around them. He was really too nice. First of all, he's saying his blood brother. Some people would rather keep quiet. What concerns with your blood?
You go and kill yourself.
Look at the current president. He said power is not giving an account. Go for it, snatch it, cut it, run it with it. The point is just what I say is that, look, you know what? It's a war. You are going to fight. You know what I'm saying? So the issue there is that Jonathan was too much a gentleman. It wasn't because he was doing anything wrong. No. Contesting in 2015 wasn't wrong by itself. But the not, some persons actually, some person left his camp, and he thought that, why will you do that? I can still win, I can still do, or I can still move on. Now, if you see that, if power of hindsight, if you ask, will Jonathan have actually done what he did? There are certain things he won't do that he did before. There are certain things he won't do that he did before, and that is why. Let me tell you, this current president came. He changed. Right now, he has his own IG. This guy has all of the chief of staff. All the chief of staffs are elected by this person. This person has the INEC chair. This person has the judiciary being elected. So, and whether you like it or not, this guy also is doing so much so that even if election is rigged, most Nigerians will not believe it is rigged. You know why? How do you, having two governors, challenge someone who has 31, 32?
Let's go. Let's go there. Now let's go there. And that
there is something I would have wanted us to mention when we go back to Jonathan's second term.
Okay.
In 2011, there was also that promise at Eagle Square that he was going to be run for only one term. At that convention, the BOT chairman, who happens to be former president Olusegun Obasanjo, said that he has benevolently agreed to be a one-term president. He said it at that convention to the hearing of the whole world. So I think that it is actually immoral for any reason to have changed that statement. Because if he didn't agree with it, he should have stated it that day that he does not agree. So we can't make such a statement to the whole nation or to the whole world, and then 3.5 years after, you are beginning to say no. And by that time, of course, the sentiment also of the fact that the law says you can only be sworn in twice, and you have been sworn in twice, was there. And that's why when Buhari came, Saraki quickly made sure that that law was amended to actually not be an ordinary statement, but to put it there clearly that in case your principal die in office and you are sworn in, you can only vie for election one more slot thereafter, which I think Arugatira is today trying to challenge to the Supreme Court.
All right, now quickly, because we have limited time. Now, we have a situation where some people say that we have a case of somebody taking his pound of flesh. That this same PDP almost entirely emasculated AD.
Correct.
And now, the only object, the only one who remained in the AD of that time is in power now,
Yeah.
and is making sure that not only does the party get emasculated, the former party, but that it gets stamped out entirely if it's possible.
Correct.
Could that be the picture right now?
Yeah, sure. It's part of it. You know, during the time of Obasanjo crushed all opposition. The only standing, the last man standing, was Tinubu or in Lagos, the governor of Lagos then. You know, he even stifled Tinubu. He did all kinds of whatever. Made sure the local government were not functioning. He retrieved their money. He wasn't paying their allocation and all of that. Obasanjo did all that he could do to be able to actually to take off life out of Tinubu.
Out of the party.
Out of Tinubu. Tinubu was the only party, the only governor, so when you say out of the party, what party doesn't exist if you don't have people who are actually carrying the flag? So the only flag carrying man was Tinubu, and he made the mess of Tinubu, and it was I think it was a fight of ego, really, because both of you were from Southwest, both of you were big boy from that end. I would never expected. That's why I said Obasanjo did well as a leader in Africa, as a global leader, as an African leader, as a national leader. But maybe in a regional leadership, I'm not sure that he considered it enough. If not, it would have been a little more. He could have actually done something better in the way he tried to just crush everybody. So you're seeing the flip now. In fact, if it's even our national anthem was reversed, what Obasanjo brought during his time, the guy changed it. Every single thing that Obasanjo brought as a legacy is being changed by this guy.
But you can't change everything. For example, you can't stop the growth of GSM.
30 seconds
Yeah.
to weigh in on this.
Well, basically, do I see it as a revenge? No. It's just that we are a people that have culture and have tradition, and we have the way we do things.
All right.
The PDP had used the court more than anybody in Nigeria. And it's just unfortunate that, and even as of today, the old guard, in my opinion, now represented by Wike, he could have been a small boy in 1999, but he has been with them all the way,
Yeah.
so he knows the way around the court, and that's why they are in the state where they are right now.
Correct.
Is anybody forcing them to decamp? No. It's the handwriting on the wall that is forcing them
Correct.
to decamp.
Yeah.
Seyi Makinde can continue to stay. He's a second-term governor. Bala Mohammed is a second-term
He probably
governor.
has desire
So
for-
he and they both at some point have thought of contesting as president and vice.
Yes.
But it's just that as of today, PDP might not be able to
who
put
presents
any
it.
candidate.
Correct.
But is the party dead? I will say no. Go and check the grassroots elections for even the local government election in FCT. Even where PDP had no candidates, they still had people voting for them. So it tells you that at the grassroots, the party is still in existence.
Is that not
But at the national, no. At the national, they have issues. People who are PDP members in Ondo State, they may not be as organized enough to win an election as of today, but they are still members of the PDP and they are holding strong.
they need a
So
rally
those in Ekiti
for
are still there.
Correct.
Some of those in Osun are still there. At least Oyinlola has not decamped. So they still have a leader to look forward to in Osun. When you go to Ogun,
then in Lagos.
the PDP at the grassroots are still there.
Bode George.
So Bode George is still there. He has not left. So to a large extent, when they solve their problem at the national,
It doesn't have the kind of.
when they solve their problem at the national, I still see the party coming back.
No, we are not talking about making a difference.
And see the party coming back. They are still there, lying low to make a huge impact. Some of the people you see decamping today to contest, the chances are that when the party is reorganized, they can decide to come back
We
to
will
their
have
party.
to leave at this point. Several other things we can talk about, but time's gone. Thank you so very much, Ben. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And thank you, Ambassador Moses. Fantastic.
My pleasure anytime.
Thank you very much. And I must say thank you to the production team, Divine, Ephraim, every one of you, Pamela, wonderful people. Thank you. But the greatest thanks goes to you, dear viewer, who make this happen. I say all the time, you can be the most brilliant professor, but if there are no students in class and you begin to demonstrate in front of the board, there's a problem. There's a problem. There's a problem. They take you out. You go to Aro. You know where we refer to as Aro in Nigeria? The psychiatric center in Abeokuta in Ogun State. So that says that the student is very important. The viewer is very important to us. Thank you so very much for being there. And thank you for staying committed to Kaftan Television. Tell them, your neighbors, your friends, your relatives, no station does it better than Kaftan TV. Thank you for hooking up today again. Join me on Matters Arising tonight from 8 to 9. And we go again because we love Nigeria just like we believe you do. Bye-bye from Dayo.